Hello everyone. Today we will start chapter 14, Chemical Effects of Electric Current. The topics which we will discuss are liquids conduct electricity, chemical effects of electric current, electroplating. Now we all know the importance of electricity, electric current. Like right now you are watching this video on some device, on any gadget like your mobile phones, your computer, your PC. Okay, so to charge them what we need? We need electric current, electricity. So we all are familiar with the importance of electricity. It is used to run so many devices. So let's recall what you studied in your previous classes. What is electric current? Electric current, it is a flow of charges. Okay, in 7th standard you have studied this. This is current is a flow of charge. Then one more term you are familiar with is circuit, electric circuit. What is circuit? The basic arrangement to get current is known as circuit. In simple circuit, what are the components which we require? Battery, wires for connectivity, a switch and a bulb. This is our simple circuit. Now we all know that electric current can pass only through a closed circuit. Like right now this circuit is open, and how did we know this? Because of here the switch here is open. So can current flow through this? No, current cannot. If this circuit is closed, then only current will flow through this circuit. Now this is our closed circuit. One more thing, if the current can pass only through conductors. The two types of material which we studied in previous classes are conductors and insulators. Here we are discussing what we have discussed earlier. Nothing is new here. So conductors are those material through which current can pass, and insulators through which current cannot pass. Is it clear? Conductors and insulators. Now let's say I give you few objects, solid objects, and you have to find whether it is a conductor or it is an insulator. So how will you check that? To check that we can use simple circuit. I am again making a simple circuit. Battery, these are free ends of wire, bulb. Now so let's say the things which we are using are, first is aluminium, the symbol for aluminium is Al, second is wood, third is plastic, and fourth is copper. Now we'll put these objects one by one here between the free ends of our wires. First, if you will connect these wires through aluminium wire, then this bulb will glow. Why? Because aluminium is conductor. Now instead of aluminium we are placing a wood. This is wood. In this case our bulb will not glow, and what's the reason? Because wood is an insulator. Similarly, we'll do the same with The remaining objects, the third objects which the object which we have taken is plastic. If we will keep any plastic object here, will it glow? No, again it will not glow because plastic is an insulator. Then finally we will place a copper wire between these two ends. Now in this case our bulb will glow. Why? Because copper is a conductor. So out of these four, aluminium and copper, these two objects are conductor, whereas wood and plastic, they are insulator. So this is in case of solid objects. I have given you solid objects and you have testified whether it is a conductor or an insulator. Now what about liquid? What if I give you any solution, any liquid, then how will you test the conductivity of that solution? That is our next topic. Liquids conduct electricity. Again, liquid conductors, they are of two types, good conductors and poor conductors. Good conductors means they conduct electricity, whereas poor conductors, they do not. Now in this case, we have taken a sample of few liquids, tap water, honey, vegetable oil, milk, vinegar and lemon juice. Now for this we have to check the conductivity of these given liquids. So how will you check it? This is again our very simple circuit. Here we have used two cells. You can clearly see these are two cells, that means they are forming a battery. Here we are using battery. These are red wires for connection. This is LED bulb and these are two free ends. Now what we will do? We will take these beaker one by one to check the conductivity. So we will start with lemon juice. Now what we did? These are two free ends. We will dip these two free ends in this beaker. Here you can see. Now in this case, in case of lemon juice, this LED bulb is glowing. So what does it show? That lemon juice is a good conductor of electricity. Then next we have taken the beaker of vinegar. Again you will dip those free ends in this beaker, and here in this case again we can see that LED bulb is glowing. What does it represent? That vinegar is a good conductor of electricity. Then in case of vegetable oil, can you see this glowing LED? No, we cannot. It is not glowing. Why? Because vegetable oil is a poor conductor of electricity. Here we have categorized those given beakers. Poor liquid conductors are honey and vegetable oil, whereas good liquid conductors are milk, vinegar, tap water and lemon juice. Now on what basis we decide that whether a liquid is a good conductor or it is a poor conductor? We decide on the number of free ions in a liquid. Here we have taken two samples, one is of vinegar and other is of carrot juice. Vinegar has higher conductivity than carrot juice. On what basis? On the basis of number of ions. You can see these red circles. What are these? These are free ions. Here in case of vinegar, more number of ions are present, and in carrot juice less number of ions are present. So vinegar has higher conductivity. Now children, sometimes what happens that our circuit is completely correct. Okay, there is no breakage, our bulb is brand new, it is not fused, wires are proper, the battery, cell, switch, everything is appropriate, but still sometimes bulb does not glow. Again I have to make circuit, battery, this is switch, what else do we need? A bulb. Okay, here. This is our simple circuit. Now in this case our bulb is not glowing. Why? Can you tell me? Because here switch is in off condition. So we need to make it in on condition. How? Now our switch is in on condition. Our battery is new, it is not discharged, and our bulb is also new, and there is no breakage at any point, but still this bulb is not glowing. So why this happens? Because this bulb is not capable of detecting weak current. If through a circuit, suppose here we have we are using a beaker. We are using a beaker which contains lemon juice, and in previous slide we discussed that lemon juice conduct electricity. It is a good conductor, but still in this case this bulb is not glowing because this bulb is not capable of detecting weak current, because through this lemon juice weak current is passing through our circuit. So to glow this bulb, what does it require? It needs means the filament gets heated up and then it begins to emit light. But in this case current is weak, so it is not, that current is not able to heat up this filament, and hence this bulb is not glowing. So what you will decide from this situation? That there is no current in our circuit? No, it is not true, but the reason is current is weak. The current flowing through the circuit is weak, and hence this bulb cannot detect this weak current. So in that situation we need two devices. First is LED, light emitting diode. It is a device which is used to detect weak current flowing through our circuit. This is our LED. This LED has two leads, one is longer and the other one is shorter. This longer lead is known as positive lead and the shorter one is negative lead. Okay. This is LED. Here in this you cannot distinguish which one is longer or which one is shorter, but here I have drawn it, one is longer and the other lead is shorter. LED or light emitting diode consists of two wires called leads. LED glows even on the passage of even a weak current through it. In this case, instead of bulb, if we will use LED, instead of this bulb, if we will use LED, then this LED will glow because it can detect weak current also. Understood what is LED? So write first internal question on page number 183, full form of LED. Write full form of LED, which is light emitting diode. So we can use an LED in place of an electric bulb in a tester. Here we have taken LED and this is, let's say, lemon juice. An LED can detect even weak current. Tester based on magnetic effect of current. One device which we discussed is LED and the other one is magnetic compass needle. It can also detect weak current. A compass needle placed close to a circuit gets deflected when current is passed through the circuit. This is our again a simple circuit and this is our magnetic compass needle. If you will bring this needle near this circuit when this is our closed circuit, then the needle will deflect. And why there is deflection in the needle? Because of the current flowing through our circuit, and that effect is known as magnetic effect of electric current, which you have studied in class 7. How we can perform it? Here we have taken magnetic needle which is placed inside inside an empty matchbox, and we have wrapped a wire around that matchbox and we have connected that to a battery. Now as soon as the current will flow through this battery, a needle will deflect, which shows that a weak current is flowing through our circuit. Okay, next topic. Ramesh got an electric shock on touching the wet walls of his house after a rain. Can you explain him the reason for this? Do you know the reason? Because during rainy season, what happens when that rainwater comes down on the earth's surface, it gets mixed with so many salts. So that rainwater is no more pure, and rainwater conducts electricity. So if you will touch wet walls or wet switches, then obviously you will get an electric shock. The water from the taps, hand pumps, wells and ponds is not pure. It contains many dissolved salts in it. This makes the water from these sources conducting. Tap water, underground water, these all contains few minerals and salts which are needed by our body. Because of those minerals and salts, our water becomes conductive. It will begin to conduct. Keep water away from electrical appliances. Obviously, you will get electric shock. Now, there is one question that it happens with us sometimes when we try to switch on, then even with our dry hands, we get electric shock. So, why does that happen? Our hands are dry, but still we get an electric shock. The reason behind this is that our body consists of 70% of water, and that water contains so many dissolved salts. So because of those dissolved salts in water, that makes our body conductive. So that's why sometimes when we touch switches, we get an electric shock. Now our next topic is chemical effects of electric current. In class 7th, we have discussed two effects. One is heating effect of electric current and the other one was magnetic effect of electric current. Now the third type of effect is chemical effect of electric current, which we will discuss right now. Now here, through this battery, this is our source of current. Battery is source of current. So when the current will flow through this circuit, that current will also pass through this beaker, through this lemon juice. So that current is making few changes in this lemon juice. Are you getting it? Because of the flowing current, there are few changes in this lemon juice, and those changes are chemical changes. Now, because of the current flowing in the circuit, there is chemical change in our liquid, in our solution. So that effect of current is known as chemical effect of electric current, because that current is causing chemical changes in our liquid. So understood what is chemical effect of electric current? When current is responsible for chemical changes in liquid. So chemical reactions occur due to the passage of an electric current through a conducting liquid. The resulting effects are known as chemical effects of current. Now let's have a look on few terms. What actually happens when current passes through any liquid? This is beaker. A solution is present. A very simple circuit again. This is battery, source of current. These are connecting wires which are dipped in a beaker which contains a liquid which conducts electricity. Now, current will flow through these wires. Okay, now current is coming through this wire and it will enter in this, beaker. Okay, now that current is responsible for decomposition of the components which are present in this liquid. What does it mean? Suppose this contain water, tap water, okay. So the current will enter through this wire and it will make few chemical changes in our tap water, and that current will leave our beaker through this wire, okay. Are you getting this? Now because of this current, this H2O, our water, will decompose, it will break into hydrogen gas and oxygen gas, okay. So because of that current, there is decomposition of water into hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. This process is known as electrolysis. What is this known as? Electrolysis. What is electrolysis? The decomposition of the liquid into its components, like the components of water are hydrogen and oxygen. So this is the chemical change which is happening here, and this liquid is known as, this conducting liquid is known as electrolyte. This conducting liquid is known as electrolyte, and instead of dipping these wires directly, we actually use rods. We actually use rods, and these rods are known as electrodes. So here we have discussed three terms. The complete process of decomposition is known as electrolysis, the conducting liquid is known as electrolyte, and these rods which we use are known as electrodes. Now electrodes are of two types, anode and cathode. Anode is always connected to the positive terminal of our battery, and cathode, it is connected to the negative terminal of battery. And current enters through the anode, and through cathode current leaves the solution. So can you tell me, out of these two rods, which one is anode and which one is cathode? This rod is anode because it is connected to the positive terminal of our battery and through which current enters the solution, and this rod is cathode, which is connected to the negative terminal of a battery and through which current leaves our solution. So understood these few terms: electrolysis, electrodes, electrolyte, and anode and cathode. So here comes our next internal question. You have to write on page 186, question 2, what is chemical effect of electric current? Mark the answer. The phenomenon of causing chemical changes by passing electric current is called chemical effect of electric current. The next internal question on same page 186, what is electrode? Mark the answer. The rod or plate through which electric current either enters or leaves an electrolytic solution is called an electrode. Now chemical changes that take place due to the passage of current through the conducting solution are, what are the chemical changes which are seen? First, formation of bubbles of gas near the electrodes. Like in this case, you can see the formation of bubbles. This is tap water and it is decomposing into the constituent gases like hydrogen and oxygen. So these are bubbles of hydrogen and oxygen. Deposition of metal on the electrodes, we will discuss it in detail in our next topic, and we will we will try this also. Then change of color of solution. In some cases there is change in color of our solution. Next topic is electroplating. Always break the term to understand it. Electro related to electricity or electric current, and plating means to deposit a layer, that is plating. Like you have heard of that it is a gold plating, silver plating. So that is we are going to discuss in this topic, electroplating. So here what is our purpose? This is a copper plate, or let's say a gold plate, because gold is very expensive, and this is let's say any bangle which is made up of any cheap metal. Now we cannot afford the bangle which is made up of gold. So what we will do, and we want to wear this gold plated bangle. So here in that case electroplating is used. Now what we do in this process, the gold plate, the gold is deposited on the surface of this bangle. This gold is deposited on the surface of this bangle through electroplating, and hence this process is known as electroplating. Understood? Now we will discuss in detail. Here we are taking beaker. This is battery. This is copper plate. And which electrode is this? This is anode connected to our positive terminal. This is anode and it is a copper plate. We want to deposit a layer of copper on our spoon. This is our spoon and we want to deposit the layer of copper on this spoon. So this spoon is connected to the negative terminal of our battery, which makes it cathode, and here it is anode. The solution which we will take is copper sulfate solution, and that solution is known as, which term we discussed, that is electrolyte. So now we will perform an activity, and by that activity this topic will be clear to you all. Okay, we have taken here a beaker which contains tap water. This is H2SO4 and this is copper sulfate. Now in this water I will add crystals of copper sulfate. Now kids, there are few salts which are not conductive in solid state, but in molten state they show conductivity. So to make this solution more conductive, I am adding few drops of H2SO4 sulfuric acid. Now I will dissolve this salt. Now what is this liquid known as? This is our electrolyte. The source of current which I am using is this 9-volt battery. Okay, this red wire is our positive terminal and this black wire is our negative terminal. So to this positive terminal I have connected copper wire, as I don't have that copper plate, so I am using copper wire. This is our anode. I am dipping this in our solution. Now to the negative terminal, instead of spoon, I am taking a coin. Okay. Now I will dip this coin in our electrolyte. Okay, we have to wait for this. Till then we will discuss what we have discussed in that activity. Okay, now we have waited for almost 5 minutes. Let's look what's the change in our coin. Okay. Can you see there is a red deposit, there is a red deposition of a layer which is of copper. So can you see the difference in our coin? Earlier it was the pure metal which it is made up of. Now it is, there is a layer of copper on our coin. So this is electroplating. So electroplating is deposition of a layer of a desired metal over another material by using electric current. The process involved in electroplating is electrolysis. Electrolysis of copper sulfate, which we right now performed. This is beaker containing copper sulfate solution. To make it more conducting, we added few drops of sulfuric acid. Then we waited for few minutes, and what we observed, the deposition of layer of copper on our coin. Instead of this rod, we have taken coin. Now what are the uses, what are the applications of electroplating? Why do we need to deposit a layer of metal on another material? Like in case of chromium plating, we deposit a layer of chromium on another material, on other materials, like in bathtubs, bicycle handlebars, door handles, kitchen gas burners. Then we have seen artificial jewelry. In that we coat our materials with gold or silver, or sometimes we use tin plating, and tin materials, tin objects are used to store foods. It does not spoil our food. So here comes our last internal question we have, which you have to write on page 186. What is electroplating? And mark the answer on the same page. The process of depositing a layer of any desired metal on another material by means of electricity is called electroplating. So by this question we are ending our chapter. I hope you understood the chapter. Thank you.